gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the 16th edition of School of Tomorrow events, Guardians of the Future, Shaping Tomorrow with Generative AI. The non-profit SOT event series was launched by Beacon House in 2000 to engage global communities in conversations that shape the future of schools and societies. I'd like to thank Google for Education, the lead sponsor for SOT 2023, and their partner Tech Valley. Our titanium sponsor is UBL. Our key sponsors include My Backpack, MK Books, Allied Bank Limited, Habib Bank Limited, Vateen, and Franklin Covey and Leader in Me. We also thank our SOT supporters, including Paramount Books and Nestle Pure Life, who have contributed to this year's event. My name is Aisha Ali, and I am the head of school at Beacon House, Gulshan Campus, Rawalpindi. Housekeeping instructions are: please ensure your cell phones are on silent. Entry and exit points are the same. Always stay calm and follow directions. Please use the SOT app to scan the QR code for question and answer sessions and also for the feedback. Share your thoughts on social media using our hashtags, hashtag Guardians of Future and hashtag SOT 2023. If you need any assistance, our ushers are here to help you out. Since this is a workshop, so there'll be no question answer session in it. So the workshop is titled Navigating Uncharted Waters, Mastery Competencies for an Unforeseen Horizon. The moderator and the facilitator is Mr. Philip Muscott. With over 2 decades in the educational sector, Philip is the current director of curriculum at We Learn Academy, Thailand, a trailblazer in project-based learning and educational consultancy. His prior roles include curriculum leadership at CIA First International School, where he championed the understanding by design framework and the integration of the 16 habits of mind into a rigorous aligned curriculum. A seasoned mentor to coaches, Philip is also an established thought leader with a co-authored book on mindfulness in education and numerous articles on innovative pedagogies like PBL and e-learning. Armed with a vision and mission to revolutionize learning landscapes, his work is a synergy of curriculum design, online course development, and accreditation expertise, all aimed at preparing learners for a future driven by skills in entrepreneurship, effective communication, and critical thinking. Over to you, Philip.
Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see all of you. And first of all, I just want to say thank you for being such wonderful hosts. It's my first time in Pakistan, and I've just had a wonderful time. So thank you for that. So hopefully I'm going to introduce something a little bit different for all of you today. So first thing I want to check if you've all got the QR code and you've managed to log into Mentimeter. I think if you haven't yet got it, we can hand them out. Is that right, Fakra? Yep, okay. I do want to make this as interactive as possible, and you can ask questions at any time, actually. You can actually do that by Mentimeter, or you can, let's do it old-fashioned way, and you can just put your hand up. So I'd love to get the audience participating. Okay. So, I'm just going to start off with some quotes there to get you all thinking about some of the topics here. Okay, I don't know if you can see all of those very clearly, so I will read them out as well. We ask 18-year-olds to make huge decisions about their career and financial future when a month ago they had to ask to go to the bathroom. So true, isn't it? Right? It's so true with the amount of rules and regulations that we have in our schools, and then all of a sudden, our learners are supposed to make huge decisions about which university to go, which country to go, which career path to follow. So, as you are, I just want to get a feel, right, for where all your guys' thinking is. So if you can kind of just vote there, to what extent these quotes resonate with you. And don't worry, I won't be offended if they don't at all, because I encourage the debate and discussion. Okay, so we've got absolutely, somewhat, not really, or not at all. For the code, sorry? You want the code for Mentimeter? Can we help with that? Yeah. We've got the QR, and I think there's a number code as well. So it'd be great if you... there we go. 22484123. All right. The next quote. When we become aware of how the school system is a conditioning agent to instill in children obedience to authority, passivity, and tolerance to tedium for the sake of external rewards, we begin to question school performance as a metric of well-being. Maybe a healthy child is one who resists schooling and standardization, not one who excels at it. I love the next one. Learning can only happen when a child is interested. If he's not interested, it's like throwing marshmallows at his head and calling it eating. So I guess there's kind of three concepts there. The first one is about how controlling and authoritarian schools tend to be. The second one, again, it's part of that. And what if we're talking about our learners being creative innovators, we have to question whether the culture and climate of our classrooms is really geared up for that. The next one, well, it's all about relevance to learners' lives, isn't it? Right? I'm sure we all experienced being at school, saying to teacher, why am I studying this? I'm never going to use it. Okay. All right, let's see where you all stand. Okay, so somewhat or absolutely agree. So, well, it looks like I've got some allies in the room then, which is lovely to hear. All right, let's move on. All right, so I thought I'd just lighten the mood a little bit with some dad jokes, okay? Why doesn't traditional education ever get lost? Does anyone like to hazard a guess at the punchline?
Doesn't know where it's going.
I like that just as much, because it always follows the same old path. There we go. Okay. Why did the old curriculum attend a party? We wish. No, it's to try and find if it was still relevant. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do today is make the contention that our current schooling system is completely broken, completely obsolete, and it's futile to try to make small changes within a broken system. I'm suggesting that we have to reimagine and redesign completely from the ground up. So this is my argument today. Okay, I'm sure a lot of you are aware of this, okay, but maybe not all. So have you ever thought about the structure of schooling? The way that we sit our learners in rows, the way that we ring bells to indicate a change of period. What does that remind you of? God, Skinner, behaviorism. Oops, yeah, yuck. Pretty good for rats and parrots, not so good for children. But yeah, what kind of work environment does that remind you of? Bells and rows. It's a factory, isn't it? That's what it was designed for. Okay, after the Industrial Revolution, okay, yes, I mean, there was an argument. We wanted to get education to the masses, which had never really been done before, so that was noble. But it was really to prepare our students to become just smart enough to operate machines in factories or become, office clerical workers, but not smart enough to question their bosses. How many classrooms still look like that 150 years later? Think about that. Okay, so I'm going to make another argument here. The obsolescence of grade levels, okay, for a couple of good reasons, okay. First of all, in life, do we only interact with people that are exactly the same age as us? Of course not. So why do we force that upon our children? Second, all of the academic research is very clear. We all learn at different paces, okay? Isn't it nonsensical that we have learners all studying the same thing and at the same pace in our classrooms? Does that make any sense at all? I will go further. Of course, my major area of expertise is curriculum design, okay? Who says that all of our learners should be able to demonstrate this particular skill by the end of that grade level? Who made that up? And who said that they have to learn that piece of knowledge or develop and practice that skill before the next? Learning is not like that. Learning is non-linear. Why do we hold our learners back when they could be flying further ahead? But on the flip side of the coin, maybe they need some extra help and get some support. But no, you missed that. You missed that lesson. I'm not going to do that one again. Is that doing the best service to our learners? Point two, the ridiculousness of subject silos. When we encounter problems in real life, are they ever purely a mathematics problem or purely an English language arts problem? Of course not. They're generally across multiple domains, okay? If it's a mathematical problem, it's probably trying to sort out some kind of humanities issue that they have. And there's always an element of communicating, right? So why do we separate our school day into subject silos? The redundancy of examinations. Okay, so when we've got, and I think the head of Google said it so well in the keynote on day one, I think they showed the table of how well all of the large language models did at standardized tests, GCSEs, A-levels, IB, College Board Advanced Placement, 99th percentile. Why are we getting our kids to do that? Why are we getting them to recall knowledge when it's just there at their fingertips? whenever they need it. We've got the whole body of world knowledge from the history of time in a smartphone in our pocket. Why do we expect our kids to remember some random facts for an exam? Then, of course, the explosion of artificial intelligence. I see some smiles. I don't know if anyone's seen this, right? Very short clip from South Park. So let's just watch this.
Afghanistan by Eric Cartman. This week we have a new student to the Check Plus Club for an amazing essay called Writing a Policy About Improving the Rights of Migrant Workers. Let's hear it for Stan.
Actually, it should have been a bit longer than that. Okay. But you get the point, right? I think there was a session here that ChatGPT wrote it, so what? Right? Okay. Okay, so there we go. I think that I've set the problem, but this is all about solutions, right? What should we do about it? And I think that there is a growing trend amongst educators that we do know what we should be doing. Okay, there's some general things, and it takes slightly different flavors in different contexts, I think. But I'm going to present what I think the main changes that we need are. Okay? Okay. Point 1. Authentic, interdisciplinary, project-based learning. So when I talk about interdisciplinary, I'm not just talking about having one that might be ELA and social studies. I'm talking about throwing subjects out the window and having all our subjects combined into an authentic project. The reason why you've got those blue arrows is I'm not necessarily going to focus on that today, depending on time. You'll have to book me again for that one. I am going to focus today on performance assessments, okay? So focused on real world, as yet unsolved problems, and that's the key, as yet unsolved. Because why are we making everything contrived for our learners and simulated? When actually, when they get out there into the real world, they'll be facing real world challenges. But so why don't we do that for our learners at school? What happened? Three, competency-based transcript with an online portfolio of evidence. Okay? Goodbye number and letter grades. Goodbye GPA. What does that mean anyway? When someone looks at a transcript and they see a B in mathematics, what does that tell the university or employer about that individual? What does it tell us about what they can actually do, what they have done? Pretty much nothing. A 70% of what? And is a 70% at school A the same as 70% at school B? And the answer is generally not. And you get into all sorts of problems of grade inflation and all of that. And of course, it's demeaning to learners, isn't it, to be ranked, given a number and a letter, compared. And that's without even going into the anxiety of high-stakes exams. Again, solution to the problem of the obsolescence of grade levels, to have school levels, to combine our learners into cohorts. There's different ways we can approach this, but I would posit for a primary, a middle, and a high. It's still useful to separate our learners into groups, mainly due to interest and, of course, academic readiness, but not in such a fragmented way of grade levels. Personalized learning pathways with both human and AI mentors. A lot of people are talking about personalization and how AI is a huge tool to accelerate that. But very few people are doing it. Again, maybe we don't have time to go into this today, but I'll talk a little bit about it, maybe later. But generally speaking, so these personalized pathways, so our learners are not studying the same subjects at the same level at the same time. It's all based on need and interest. If they then do need, because I'm sure some questions are going to come up, yeah, but what about the piece of paper? Yeah, what about the parents? Yes, we can still do that. If you want to take A-levels, you don't have to have gone through the Cambridge system from kindergarten up to high. And if you've got the skills of learning how to learn, the self-directedness, social emotional aptitudes, our kids can learn any content they want when they want. I advocate for flourishing sessions. For those of you that saw the panel discussion yesterday, and we were talking about some local entrepreneurs here, and they said what had driven their success: the social emotional aptitudes, getting on with people, networking, reading others, empathizing. So I think that should have a much greater role to play in our school systems. And I think a big trend over these 3 days, what does generative AI mean? Well, it means, what does it mean to be human? If we've got AI to do all of the legwork for us, right, doesn't it free us up to be the compassionate, creative problem solvers that we are? Flexible learning spaces there. We need to tear down our classrooms. Places that our learners actually want to come, where they get choice, where and when they learn. Fit for purpose. Certain spaces for, group project work. Maker spaces for innovation. Physical spaces, private study booths. I posit that's what our schools or learning centres should look like. And last but not least, lots and lots of real-world experiences. Okay, so that is lots and lots of field trips, lots and lots of community engagement, interaction with industry, internships, guest speakers. Little story there, actually. So, are any familiar with Formula One in schools as a project? Anyone heard that? Oh, it's wonderful. So, learners, they design, manufacture, test, and race model Formula One cars. So you've got engineering design there, but much, much more. Sponsorship raising as well. So they actually get out there, raise sponsorship with businesses so they get their logos on the cars and merchandise, right? Portfolio building, showing the different iterations of their designs and what data they use for testing, etc., etc. Anyhow, the point I'm making is that all of the groups came up with some wonderful logos for their brand, okay? But we got then a local designer to come in to work with the learners to actually produce these on, on T-shirts, on baseball caps, etc., etc. And it stuck in my mind that this designer said, that's a lovely picture, but that belongs in an art gallery, not on a t-shirt, right? And I thought to myself, why as educators do we have the arrogance that we can give feedback in all domains? I might be pretty good at curriculum design, but I'm no good at logo design. So why are we not getting industry professionals to come in and give feedback and evaluate our learners' work? Okay, so as I said, we're going to focus on two things today. We're going to focus on the mastery transcript. Again, just a show of hands, has anyone seen this or something similar? Only one in the room, okay. I'm pretty positive this is the way that we're going. This is an example from an organization called the Mastery Transcript Consortium. There are others, but I would suggest that this is the world leader. So instead of seeing courses, instead of seeing letter and number grades, you get this lovely infographic. Here, and again, it depends on the mastery competencies that you formulate as a school. We've got citizenship and decision-making, problem-solving, critical analysis. It shows those competencies that have been attained and those that are still in progress. And this is the thing, there's no fail. The learners get multiple opportunities to display these competencies. It's all linked to an online portfolio of evidence that they can then show to universities and employers. Completely online, it's clickable. The learners get their unique URL and a code, and they just build up these competencies over time. If we have time, I'll go a little bit deeper and show you what that actually looks like. I'm sure the question will come, to what extent are universities accepting this? It's growing by the day. And the Mastery Transcript Consortium partners with us. And if we've got a learner who wants to go to a specific university, we just put that in the platform. They contact them. They explain this. And here's the maybe counterintuitive part of this. The more selective a university is, the more likely they are to accept the mastery transcript only. Why? If you think about Oxbridge, how many thousands or tens of thousands of applicants do they get? How many of those are going to have 4 A stars at A level? Well, probably all of them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be applying to Oxford. So how do the admissions officers choose? It's the other stuff, isn't it? It's the portfolios of work, it's the community engaged learning, it's leadership programs. Keynote of this, it doesn't only have to be what the learners have done in school. They can do it from their own passions, their own interests, hobbies, sports, dancing, whatever that looks like, and aligned to the mastery competencies. Again, it's owned by the learner. They submit the work. We, as facilitators, coaches, will accept or give feedback and say where it needs to improve. So they really take ownership of this, which again is great for the self-directedness. All right, but what is a mastery competency? There's a lot of talk, I think, about competency-based education, but I think it's very misunderstood. Okay, so again, show of hands, who is familiar with the Understanding by Design framework? Not too many. Okay, so look, talking about standing on the shoulders of giants, okay, Understanding by Design, developed by Jay McTighe and Grant Wiggins, has been hugely inspirational for my work. And I love the way that they display the desired learning outcomes. Split into knowledge, knowledge. Okay, so we've got an example here for physics. The declarative, facts, names, places, formulae, things like that. Things that we can actually test in a multiple choice quiz, right? Skills, the procedural, okay, so calculating force and motion. Okay, so processes, algorithms. Next level up, conceptual understandings, okay? So in the context of physics here, we've got grasping the impact of physics on real-world phenomena. Why is it important? How can we apply it? How does it relate to other things? So that's the next level, if you will, the conceptual. A mastery competency, though, the way I think about it is for the learner to be able to put those knowledge, skills, and understandings together and apply it to solve a real-world problem, to transfer it to a new situation. So here's an example of one of the ones that I developed. I can use innovative and imaginative approaches to solve problems, creating unique solutions that challenge conventional methods and the status quo. And notice there, it's overarching. It's not only related to physics there, okay? I'll give another example because I want you to have a go, actually, at creating one of these. Let's go social studies. Knowledge. Well, let's say we're doing forms of government, okay? The learners will need to know what an indirect democracy is, say. A skill would be compare and contrast, yeah, to compare indirect and direct democracy, democracy and oligarchy, something like that. An understanding might look like, I'm so sorry, I've got messages coming up, do apologize. An understanding there, students will understand that multiple types of government have been tried over the ages in different places, and they all have advantages and disadvantages in serving the people that they're designed to serve, right? But just saying that doesn't show the understanding, but you get my point. But okay, but that's not a mastery competency yet, right? That might look like something like if they have to determine the most suitable, the most appropriate form of government for a certain context, yeah, students will be able to independently use their learning to make an informed decision about which form of government, or let's just leave it open as decision making in general. Students will be able to make informed decisions after weighing up multiple perspectives. That's a mastery competency. Don't know why my Mentimeter's disappeared, actually. What happened there? Anyway. Is my Mentimeter still going? Can you still see that? I don't know why it's disappeared. Sorry, it was a little different. There we go. Yep. And the code. Yep, okay. Oh, I forgot to do that one. Please do share some of your favorite quotes as well. Again, I've just set that as a little challenge there, and I'd love for you to try to formulate some of these mastery competencies and input it there, and we can take a look. But I'll give you time to do that. Maybe we'll come back to that. Okay. It was on the other one, actually. 2248 4123. They will automatically show up, I think. I believe that means I haven't had any responses yet. There we go. Perfect. Lovely. Like it a lot. Formulate and implement a strategy to achieve a particular objective, keeping in view competing stakeholders' interests. Probably under the domain of entrepreneurship, maybe? Wonderful. Solving problems in an unconventional way, knowing different aspects of the problem. Okay, so giving students, no, not really, turn it into something that students are able to do, right? Not what we are doing for them in schooling. Yeah. Problem solving, of course, solving real life problems. I can't believe how quickly the time's going. Only 17 minutes left. Barely started. These are really great. Have a think about these, because with the MTC, anyone can become a member school. These are the ones that I've been working with. So we've got 7 competency domains. Everyone talks about the 4 C's, right? Communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity. Done. We know that. We've tagged on entrepreneurship, self-directed learning, social-emotional aptitude there. Actually, one of those is very similar to one that the audience posted. So entrepreneurship. So as a domain, very simple. Learners are able to develop a business idea, figure out the steps needed to make it happen, and formulate a plan for successful implementation. Very similar, right? Broken down into 7 sub-competencies here. Problem identification, solutions-based design, going into marketing, publicity and media, sponsorship raising, and then refining. Again, all articulated as I can statements. So there we go. There's my first contention, a shift towards a mastery transcript and an online portfolio of evidence. Okay, I want to go into a performance task or authentic performance assessment. Okay, so these are real-world problems, projects where the learners transfer their learning to new situations, solving real-world problems. However, the design of these is not easy. It really isn't, okay? So I've come up with this idea of the Goldilocks zone of performance task design. Okay, something not too simple, not too complex, realistic, authentic, and a problem that has not yet been solved. Here we have a nice chart showing that, right? So we've got complexity of the task on the x-axis, and we've got authenticity on the y. And what we want to do is design somewhere around here, okay? So if a problem is not really complex but very authentic, it could be a problem that's already been solved, and I'll give some examples of that, and I see that all the time. giving learners assessments, tests, or even performance tasks of things that have already been solved. So all they can Google it. Okay, what benefit are they getting? The worst of the worst, right, is something that's neither complex nor authentic, which is just an exercise or a drill, the kind of thing you might get in a textbook or a worksheet. If it's hugely complex and authentic of a problem that even the best industry professionals have not yet solved, well, it might be a little bit unrealistic to give that to a middle school student to do. And again, I'll give you some examples of that. And then on the bottom right, we've got something that is very complex, but it's not authentic, okay? And then we can call that contrived. So I'm going to give some examples, the ones here, and hopefully an example of one that is in the Goldilocks zone. So, the anecdote here actually is a good friend of mine. Hi, Norman. If we're live streaming this, I'm not sure we are, but we are. Okay. He came to me one day and he said, "Look, why are we giving our students, essays to write, all of the time about a social studies issue or something?" He said, "They should be finding a cure for cancer." Well, yes, but is that realistic? When the best, the most advanced, medical practitioners in the world, scientists haven't done that, right? So that's an example of something that's overly complex, unrealistic, right? I don't know if you've come across this GRASPS format: goal, role, audience, situation, product, and standards or specifications is a very, very good framework to design these performance tasks. Here, problem that's already been solved: eradicating smallpox. The learners can just Google it. They can copy and paste. Right? Okay. Now one that I believe is in the Goldilocks zone. Goal: to design a local initiative to combat digital misinformation. Hot topic, right? Hopefully something that the learners will be interested in. Hopefully that will be something that it is within their grasp in terms of academic readiness, but also outreach that they can do, okay? Wonderful thing about these GRASP tasks is that we give our learners an authentic role, so they are not just students doing it because the teacher told them. They can get out there within the local community and schools to actually make some positive impact, some action. We can get them creating digital literacy campaigns, educational resources, holding community workshops. So these are the kind of products and performances that we can evaluate them on and ultimately use as evidence in their mastery portfolio. How do we measure it? Well, this is the other thing as well. We often get our learners to make plans of action, but they're never actually allowed to go out there and implement them. I was thinking about this in terms of the Cambridge Global Perspectives course. The evaluation there is based on their reflections. Why are we doing that? Why are we not evaluating the actual impact to get out there using data, surveys, measurable outcomes, right? 10 minutes left. Is that including everything, including Q&A. All right. So, there's, oh, sorry. Just show how they're linked, right, to the mastery competencies. Okay, so entrepreneurship here, that's linked to the community-centric project. You've got effective communication there, okay, getting the message across through campaigns. Okay, you've got leadership and collaboration there. Okay, so collaborating with local stakeholders, local businesses, schools, etc. Okay, of course, there's critical thinking and problem solving there. So identifying what those misinformation issues are, right? So we talk a lot about problem solving, but it also needs to be problem identification as well. Okay. Creativity there, so they're designing their educational resources and their workshops, etc. Okay, and you've got your social emotional aptitudes there. Can they empathize with the affected groups? You've got your design thinking coming in there. Can they actually network? Can they communicate across diverse groups? There we go. That is what I think where we should be heading with our assessments. We've got 10 minutes left, so again, can you come up with a performance style? If you think about the school level that you teach, what's something that you could design as a project for your school that's authentic, achievable, actionable, something that we can measure the outcome of? So let's go back. Over to you then, if you'd like to have a go at that, and you can use the grasps task, okay? And of course, use generative AI to help you. Prompt, I teach, or act as an expert educationalist, an expert assessor. Create a grasps task for grade 7 social studies and make it not too complex, make it authentic. See what it comes up with. And we'll leave this as Q&A as well. Maybe we can do both, right? Because we've only got 6 minutes left. So, yeah. Q&A, how are we doing this? Just hands up or? Yeah? Or we'll go old school here, right? And we'll do hands up, yeah.
So you were talking about exercise and drills as something that's kind of deadly. If you look at mastery competencies in the real world, like playing a musical instrument at a high level of skill, learning to do drills on playing scales is an essential part of building the competency up to a mastery level.
Yes.
So when are they going to be doing those drills then?
Fantastic question, and I'm going to give a very, very short answer, actually. Yeah, of course that's important, but it's not the goal. It's a stepping stone. That's my point, that we shouldn't be using those drills as summative assessments, right? But I'm not discounting the knowledge and the skills and the understanding. They are needed, right? I love the phrase, just in time, not just in case. Right? If you've heard that. So how many times have we sat in the classroom, teacher, why am I learning this? Why am I doing algebra? I'm never going to use it in the real world. You might. One day you might. Well, that's just in case. Just in time. And I'll give a real world example, actually. So we were doing the Formula 1 in schools, and even for the primary cohorts, that were using cardboard templates and everything, they were using geometric tools. So, you know, the coach was getting them to draw a line of 10 centimeter long and make a 90-degree angle, right? Coach, what's a centimeter? Coach, what's 90 degrees? Now we're going to find a nice resource there, and we're going to learn this, but you're going to apply it here and now. So there's a need there, and they get the chance to apply it instantly, right? And that's just in time. So yeah, I'm not discounting the necessity for knowledge, skills, and understandings. Does that make sense? I just don't think we should be packing our day full of them for that, the sake of it only. Of course, it's a very, very skilled thing to map your PBL curriculum over the grade levels to make sure that we are covering all the core foundational skills, right? But having said that, the more that generative AI is with us, I think that the necessary skills are maybe lowering, as long as the learners have got the self-directedness, the curiosity, right, the critical thinking, to be able to learn any content when they want, where they want, when they want. Thank you for the question. Other questions? Yes, sir. Me too.
But it wasn't until I was in my early 20s studying other languages that things started making sense.
I see.
Similarly, somebody mentioned problems that they had at school learning quadrilateral equations. Whatever those are, I haven't the faintest idea. I had to study them, useless, I hated it, and I've never used anything remotely similar. But I still think that there needs to be some basic building blocks in education to prepare a child to then learn. They've got to have an understanding about how to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But that has to be a certain discipline to learn the basics, I think, or maybe I'm just old-fashioned. But I still think basic competencies have to be learned first before you can get on to more interesting project-based learning that's sort of proposing.
But the point is with PBL is that learning happens, but it has purpose. Okay, so it's not at the expense of these core academic skills. Okay, and the other thing is, and I did remember I had, I think it was 6 or 7 pillars of this redesigning model, and that personalized learning pathway, right? So if we identify during our project-based learning units that there is gaps, we use that time to address them, right? So if they are lacking basic numeracy skills or something like that, we take that opportunity to do it. But that's on a needs base. It's not everyone doing the same thing there. So I agree with you. But I think that, it's maybe a misconception about PBL. But actually all the research says that those core academic skills are learned better through authentic project-based learning. Something like, Latin, though. I mean, it may have been useful in your life, but not for everyone, right? And that can be learned later if necessary. But I think that also we need to give as much learner agency as possible so they can determine their interests and passions, right? Again, that's quite a skill in this design, to have it, let's say, enough framework there so we know that we are covering all of the competencies and we know that the learners know what's expected of them and how we can give feedback, but as much choice as possible. So, for example, we did a PBL unit called storytelling, from script to screen. But the learners could choose whatever story they want, whatever theme, whatever message they wanted to get across, and also the medium. Some of them actually made films. Some of them made animations. Some of them even made video games, right? So there's that learner agency, the voice and choice.
Secondary level education, the cramming for A levels is got to be better processes to study and understand the child's competencies and abilities. And this is looking at it at that more senior
Thank you, and thank you for the question. Again, proof of concept, because we are doing this, by the way, in Thailand. So we've had learners that have gone to sit their GCSEs because actually that family still wanted that, and we give that choice to the family, right? And they passed them with flying colours, no problem. And they'd never attended a day of traditional schooling in their life. They'd got all of that through the personal learning pathways and the PBL. I think we're out of time, but can we have one more question? If there is any. Any more questions? Right. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I hope that was useful.